Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee, and today on the Hermitcraft server, we're going to do a little bit of planning for our upcoming Red Sky Bay sign. I've been thinking about it a lot. I've got a core structure down, but I don't have a precise location picked. Also, I'm going to have to gather some materials. Now, I've been talking to Azuma, and apparently he says that there's some sort of shulker box that spawned for me. So I think I need to swing by the communal area and pick that up. See what he's got going on there. Now, in the meantime, I want to map this area out a little bit, just to kind of get a sense of it more. I might need a bigger map. So the southern end of the bay here isn't particularly terrible for signage, but it's not exactly where you're going to see things when you first come in. If I come back this way, though, where I had my little quick and dirty starter house is a pretty decent location. But I'm thinking that the sign might not secure itself there in a natural way, so I might need to devise some sort of sign structure or sign per structure to contain it, in addition to the actual sign itself. Oh hey, this is a cute little island. Maybe I should put the sign on the cute little island here, and it should be, well, I don't think it's going to be quite in view from the entrance or the mouth of the bay there, even at the 16 chunk render distance. So continuing this way, I do think I figured out what I want to do with this. I'm thinking about carving this into an 8-sided die, which is particularly interesting visually because it's kind of a pyramidal shape with symmetry on the horizontal or across the horizontal plane. It matches the kind of general vague shape of the stone already, but kind of accentuates it some. It's not as animalistic as I was thinking, like carving a duck or a rabbit or something there, but I don't know. I feel like, you know, some things should be left to chance and some things should be left to nature, and maybe the entrance to the bay belongs to chance. I don't know. Gonna have to keep thinking on that. If I put the sign here, it's gonna imply this is the bay, though. So, while we have, well, I mean, I guess this implies that this is the bay too, but realistically, I'm going to dredge all this out. This is all going to be gone soon. Look at this. You know how much of this needs to be here? None. Come here. Boom. I'm not even planning to dredge today, and I'm dredging. Boom. Take that, bay. This is happening. It's the future of bays. All your bays are belong to me. Okay, great. So we're going to go ahead and actually dredge this out in another episode. But I am thinking that maybe this little inlet here, which I'm just kind of barely on this. Oh, this is off the map, isn't it? Of course. But like, this right here might be the optimal place for the sign. I'm going to have to clear all these trees out. But that would then be visible, I believe, from the waterfall there. Although maybe not. The waterfall itself is just barely out there in the mist. Dang it. Well, then we get back into just bulldozing this house, or using this house as the base for the sign. Which, I mean, in terms of location, yeah, this is hard to beat. How large is this area, though? I could always shore it up a bit, I suppose. Because I was thinking that the actual, like, footprint of the sign would be pretty large. Haven't worked out the exact mathematics of it yet, but I want it to be 3-dimensional, not just flat, unlike the original Sea Cow Bay sign. And I wanted to play in particular with the kind of concept of rotational geometry in pixelated worlds. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and enlarge this map a little more. Oh no, that completely wiped it entirely. Dang it. That's not as helpful. Well, it's becoming pretty obvious that this is going to be the area to put the sign in. Now, if it's going to be inspired by, but different than the original Sea Cow Bay sign, one thing I wanted to do was to increase the size of the letters twice. So the letters of the old sign were, I believe, 3 wide. But if we're going to do twice that, that means they're going to have to, each letter is going to have to be 6 wide. We had 1 block gaps between the letters in the old sign. So the new sign would necessarily have 2 block gaps. So that means we're going to be looking at something like 1, 2 here to the edge, 6 wide for the letter, 2 wide gap, 6 wide for the letter, 2 wide gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dang it. 6. Not my best sand placement ever. But core concept, this sign would go from there to here. And pretty tall as well. So this would go from here to there. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty big. Can I make it that far out if I dive? I'm worried about the water. Dang it. And so if we wanted to make this cubic, this would go as far out as this side as well. And what I'm thinking is we would have the sign facing out in all directions. So actually people even as far as coming from that way could see that this is the bay. So it's pretty clear from here that would be a nice and visible landmark. And I'm guessing the same could be said from any angle. That's pretty big. So those letters, if we make them out of like, I'm thinking maybe quartz or maybe even lamps themselves, because they'd be further from the edges than the original sign, and we do need to have some illumination. Oh, one thing I did want to show you is I thought like I needed more furnaces in my house, and I wasn't sure what to do with them, so I decided to make a house out of furnaces. You know, it's not the most original design, but I think it works, and I even have a little door that opens. I don't know. Little things like this bring me a little bit of joy. So, figure if I do enough of them, maybe I'll feel good, and maybe I won't. But either way, it was worth trying. So, I've decided to use nether brick for the framing material. I think that I'll need about 6 stacks of framing material. And I'm also going to have some sky colors, some like red sky colors, like deep purple and maybe blue for the bay, and just kind of a combination or kind of a gradation of kind of a sunrise or a sunset with a lot of red in it. And I think I'm going to need, at the size I'm looking at, about 6 stacks of each color to do the entire, every face of the cube the way I want. So that's a lot of stuff. In the meantime, we can go ahead and climb up here. This will cook, I guess, while we go. And we will head to the communal area and get that shulker box Isuma wanted us to pick up, because he is far too kind and leaves us nice things. So Isuma said to head to the purple building. Let's see where we can find that. That looks a little bit like purple. First come, first serve. 1 per hermit. Whoa, shulker boxes 1 per hermit. Wow, he actually named them after us. And it's even got my little @ symbol there. And I think I ruined a path. Whoops. Okay. I'll have to wait till that grows back. Sorry, Pathmaster. Good times with Scar. Well, let's see what else is in this first come, first serve box. Curse of Vanishing? What is the Curse of Vanishing? Curse of Binding? Oh, interesting. So I looked it up, and apparently Curse of Vanishing means that the equipment it's not recoverable on death. If you die, it goes away forever, instead of dropping on the ground. Well, I could definitely always use an extra efficiency 5 pickaxe. And I don't die very often, so... Ooh, although this one has mending on it, and I don't have any pickaxes with mending yet. Well... Oh, this is a hard choice, because I need the shovel for dredging. Efficiency 5 shovel with Curse of Vanishing. You know what? I gotta follow the heart of the cards. The mission is to dredge, and we are gonna dredge so much better with this shovel. So thank you, Isuma, for this shovel that I promise I will... Oh, there's False with the info. It vanishes when you die with it on you. Thanks, False. If you guys ever need to look something up on Wikipedia, you can also ask the hermits, and they'll get back to you after Wikipedia does. Well, as you can see, our nice little furnace house here is just chewing through this netherrack like it's butter, and cooking it like it's butter. Now that it's all melted into butter-shaped bricks, we're going to go ahead and turn that into kind of square-shaped, cubic-shaped bricks, so that we can build our own cubic-shaped thing. Let's go ahead and grab these last 2 here. That'll even us out. We can drop these in our lovely, lovely thing. You know what, though? I'm looking at this, and I don't know if I love the purple. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should color this a different color. If I take some blue and some bone meal here, we can kind of get little bit of light blue, and I really hope that I can dye this without emptying everything inside. Let's go ahead and give that a go. Yep, still worked. All the contents are still there. Excellent. So we will run off with that, and you know what? Should I put it in there? All the extra dyes. Not going to need these. What I figure I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily use this shulker box to move the construction materials for the new place. And first, though, I need to establish the new place. Now, I want to get a construction hut going temporarily. Why am I leaving the boat behind? That is a poor use of boats. Also, I figured out on my map that I can see the town, the communal area from here. If I slow down a second, it's in that lower left corner. That's the spawn. So, at some point, I'm going to probably fill out the whole map by boating around and driving around. So I initially thought, okay, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to build myself a new construction trailer so I can store the materials I'm going to need for the build. Because I'm going to need a lot of things. I'm going to need colored blocks. I'm going to need lights for the sign. I'm going to need a frame for the sign. The frame I've already got partially covered with the nether brick that I've been cooking. But you know what? It's actually just going to be so massive that as I think about it more, I realize all the materials I could just store in here. Instead of building a new construction trailer, I can go ahead and just kind of offload this stuff into here for right now. So like this will be our nether brick box or whatever. And the actual sign will probably be mounted above ground level. So I'll just destroy this after I'm done with the sign like I would have with an actual construction trailer. So that saves me some trouble there. I am still going to need to clear cut this and gather a bunch of sand and gravel and stuff. Now, I don't think I actually need wood for any part of the construction itself other than the chest to hold all the materials. But you know what? Since I got to clear this, might as well use this wood for those chests. No sense wandering all over creation trying to find new timber to cut down. So, what I'm actually thinking is I realized initially I was thinking like we'd have 2 frame like pieces for a gap, and then 6 spaces for the letters. But I'm realizing that I probably need an additional space on either side of each letter so that you can see the color behind it. Because what's the point of making a beautiful sunset-colored sign if the letters are occupying like 1/3 of the surface area of the sign? I want to have more of the color behind the letters poke through. So that means I'm actually going to re-revise or re-squared-vise exactly how this is going to go. Also, when I set up this initial kind of bracket here, just to kind of give me a sense of how big it was, that was to get a sense of scale. That's not actually necessarily where I want to put the thing. I think ideally, I should have one corner of it. Oh, of course I don't have any, like, disposable stone, because I brought all the fancy stuff over. Oh, and I don't have the nether rack. Let's grab the nether rack. We can actually put in the first part of the frame right now, if we can grab some of that. There we go. So, now from here, we'll go ahead and start setting up our ladders. Not sure exactly how high. Oh, you know what? It's really easy to figure out how high it should be, because it should be at least clear of that. That is the framework for this is. Let's make sure it's taller than our construction hut, and then work backwards from there. Then I can just hop in the water and start this, like so. One corner here. And so this will be going up, out, and out along those dimensions. Go ahead and drop a torch there just for now. I guess I am going to have to light this up until I actually get the framing in. So I'll break these torches later once these are just walls. So I've come back with a placeholder colored block here, 64 granite. Because if this is a 8x8 square, then in theory, I should be able to completely fill it with 1 stack of granite. Mathematically, that looks likely at this point because I just did 1 across and 1 up, and we're in the ballpark. So, that seems pretty good to me. What I'm thinking, though, is that I should actually mount the letters in front of the sign. I had considered embedding them directly in it, but considering that people are going to be flying around and moving on boats and stuff, it'll just be more visually dynamic if I have the kind of parallax or 3D effect of having the letters pop out. And that was one of the things that was great about the original sign, too. So now the next problem is that I've got to go out here and actually make the sign part, which I didn't build a scaffold for yet. So let's go ahead and try that. Boom, boom. Okay, so the Y in bay, I was thinking it would go kind of like this. Alright, so there I've cleaned up the typeface a little bit. We're going to actually leave the inlet here and see how far away it's visible from, just to get a real sense of legibility. So that'll be the lower right corner, and we'll have different colored panes behind that kind of mirror the look of a sunrise or sunset. So I don't have all the materials gathered for that. That's going to be quite the effort to get all the dyes I'm going to need. Oh yeah, that's going to be visible a good distance off. That's really what I was going for. Okay, I'm feeling pretty pleased about this so far. So you can just barely see the sign from over here, just to give you a sense of how far away you can see it from. There's this edge of the scaffold in there. But you know what? Here is a little gravel pit I found. It's not necessarily enough. Wait, why are all of these flint? Is this a... Do cursed shovels... This is a cursed shovel. Does it only give you flint? Oh no. I was so excited about this shovel. Luckily I've got this other one. This one works fine. Man, I'm glad I paid attention to that. I could have wasted this entire gravel pit on my cursed shovel. Dang it. Isuma! Isuma giveth and Isuma taketh away through his gifts. I fear Isuma, especially when he bears gifts. No wait, that's the Greeks. It's an old Trojan saying. You might have heard of them. They were destroyed by Achilles. You know, everybody talks about Achilles' heel, but not the Trojans' one. Theirs was accepting gifts. Okay, so let's get out of here before the sun entirely goes down. Is there anything else over here that I might... Ooh, red flowers, I need red. Is that red? Yeah, red tulip. Okay, let's grab some of these rose red roses, because we are going to need plenty of that dye for our sunset. You know how you paint a sunset? One brush stroke at a time. While it would be a pain to impane each pane of this plane that's been cubed with the proper colors just for you, I think that what I'm going to do is actually audit the colors available to me. I talked about that earlier. I wanted to give you a chance to see kind of the palette that I'm working from. Now, we're going to take some of this famous sand. Like, this sand is dredged straight out of the bay. From the bay to the sky, someday all our dreams might fly. And I'm going to go ahead and put in some of this blue here to get one blue concrete powder. I'm going to put in a little red to get some red concrete powder. And magenta concrete. These are all beautiful kind of sunset colors that I think will do us well. Now, I'm hoping... Let's actually try placing each of these on top of a netherrack frame for context. So I think that I could probably mix some of these powders in with the pure concrete to show an interesting contrast kind of within tone or shade. Yeah, these are pretty good sunset colors right here. This is a pretty solid group of colors to work with. And I think that it's going to pay off for us. Not sure. I kind of like the bolder colors rather than the powders. Although I wonder if in the distance the powders will look better. So, now we are in a new problem area. Let's go ahead and hop up here real quick. Place these down here. Blue, 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 blue. Purple, 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 purple. Magenta, 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 magenta. Red, 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 red. Pink. Okay, great. So now that we've got a little bit of more of a real swatch kind of going on, we can just kind of hop out to sea here. And kind of get... Yeah, I don't know. I think the speckles kind of... They really feel more textured. I might have to experiment with the full panes in place, because an 8x8 is going to look a lot different than a 2x2 from the distance. And the bold colors do have a real visual distinction against the landscape that I appreciate. They feel that they stand against the landscape, whereas the sand is more of the landscape, or the powder, which, I mean, in fairness, the powder does come from the sand I dredged out of the landscape. So I do like how that kind of fits together. Well, it might not seem like we've made a ton of progress, but I've made a lot of decisions about how I'm going to proceed with this, and I know what materials I need to gather off camera now. So hopefully in our next episode, we can see a lot more than just a little bit of a tiny corner of the frame. Anyway, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.